Hey there, just wanted to start going over the contract. I know when we probably met there was a lot of information that was given to you, and this may be a good refresher. So I'm going to break this down into sections so it's easy to digest and you don't have to watch the whole entire thing to get to the point you may want. So let's talk about the first page of the contract. This is a lot of information, just basically a checklist of the high level view basically of things you should be looking for. Making sure you read the entire contract. We'll get a disclosure statement. Each of these pieces we will go over in different videos. So like I said, I want to keep it super simple to the point so you can come back to these if you need to. So first page is pretty important. Great check boxes, great little checklist for you to do. All right, so I filled out a fake purchase contract here. Basically, the first lines are going to be the people who are taking title and the people who are selling the property. Now these, as a buyer or seller, it depends on which way you want to take title. Is it going to be in a trust, in your names? Do you want middle initials? That is going to be mostly decided to by you and the lender on the pre-qual. Sometimes you can't take it in an LLC if you're going to be using a type of loan. So you and the lender are probably going to make that decision on how this is going to work. And if you're the seller, if your property is held in a trust or an LLC, we start with that. And we will need to make sure that people who are selling are members of that trust or of that LLC. So that documentation is going to be pretty important too. Now we do have the address, which is important, but not as important as an assessor's number. This is actually how title finds your property. Every number or every lot has an assessor's number, and that's how they go by. And this is just a legal description of the property. Now, this is the purchase price, what you're wanting to offer. Now, because we have not gotten into contract, this also will go into potential negotiations. So this is just where we're starting. This is your earnest money. Typically, earnest money, we want to do about 1% of the purchase price, and we like to apply it towards the balance due at close. So this will come into your down payment. So if your down payment is $50,000, you've given $5,000. So at the end, you'll deliver $45,000 in down payment. That doesn't mean that you don't have other fees, but just to keep it simple for right now. Now, the balance of your loan will be $450,000, and I just like to put here what type of loan you're going to be getting. Different loan types are important. Conventional is a little easier than FHA as far as some things that are safety concerns, FHA guidelines. It's important I put that up there just so that the owner or the seller or buyer, can see exactly what type of product is going to be given. Earnest money, it could be a personal check, but I've come to find not a lot of people have personal checks anymore, so wire transfers are usually the easiest. Other can be something like a cashier's check. Not usually ACH though. It's not impossible, but depending on how long it takes to get someplace. And almost always it's going to go into an escrow account. In my 20 years, I've never actually seen it go into a broker's trust account, so we're going to say escrow company. Now if this is going to be an all cash deal, we skip a lot of the financing piece, but I'll go into that after. And we do include a proof of funds. So close of escrow, this is going to be a date. Typically it's about 30 days into the future. It can be any amount of time based on if it's a cash buy, if the seller wants a longer close date, if the buyer has a potential contingency. There's a lot of different reasons why close of escrow may be longer or shorter than 30 days, but that's about average. You're going to deliver your escrow money you're going to deliver to your escrow company down payment at the end. So remember that you're going to have to hold that money aside. If you don't have money for down payment when it goes to close, that's not a reason for you to get your earnest money back. So be sure anything you are using for down payment is going to stay someplace safe and sound, and you will not touch it. Possession, this is almost always at close of escrow. Sometimes in the crazier markets, we do have post possessions, and that's another thing we can talk about if we get to that point, but just be aware most every time it is a close of escrow on that close of escrow date. Addendums. Now, most typically we see homeowners association addendums. Additional clause addendum, that's just something that has a lot of literally additional clauses we may use in a contract. And depending on what year it was built, lead-based paint may be a thing. If it's a septic property, it's on-site wastewater management. So we're seeing more solar addendums. So there may be other addendums we check, but HOA is the most common one. Now these things here, this is the fixtures and personal property. These are things that if you see them in the house and we make the offer and it's accepted, they stay with the house. So someone can't go and take their TV mount off the wall and not have to replace it with another TV mount if it was there when we saw it, or if they hadn't written it in or counted it out. So these are things that are just nice to keep in mind when you're looking what does stay with the property. Mostly I often get, is a refrigerator, washer, dryer included? Sometimes it can be, doesn't have to be. The only ones that are definitely included are the dishwasher and any built-in microwave and the ovens or range if there's a range. So that's the ones that do stay. And I'm going to leave it here for this one. We're going to do financing in the next one. But of course, if you have any other questions on anything I spoke about here or something I maybe didn't cover or wasn't clear, please feel free to reach out.